one heck of a dude. Let's bring in Mr. Murfreesboro, Bill Wilson. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Hey. Hey, Joe.
You doing all right?
I'm doing great.
All right, tell us about Mr. Murfreesboro. How did you get the name, and how did you get tens of thousands of followers? You're quite the man down there.
Well, I hadn't planned on that. It was about 7 years ago. First of all, there was a gentleman by the name of Mr. Murfreesboro. His name was Tommy Martin, and he was a business leader here in Murfreesboro back in the 40s and 50s and 60s. And he sold life insurance for a living for Money Mutual of New York. And he was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and he was all about Murfreesboro. A lot of people don't realize that he helped create jobs for Murfreesboro. He helped recruit companies here like State Farm, at the time GE, Chromalox. And those, of course, Chromalox is now the Boys and Girls Club today. That's where Chromalox used to be. It employed at one time close to 1,000 people.
Wow.
GE employed around 1,500 people. I actually worked there at one time, and I actually worked at Chromalox one time. But Tommy Martin, Mr. Murfreesboro, if you look at that picture that you just pulled up on my Facebook page, Tommy Martin is that middle gentleman in the blue suit, the heavyset guy. Behind him is my grandfather, Bill Wilson, who was the sheriff here, and he was a road superintendent. And then the gentleman in the hat is Sam Ridley, named Sam Ridley Parkway. Yeah. He and his brother Knox were the mayors of Smyrna for over 50 years.
Goodness.
Back in the heyday. And then Vester Waldron's in there too, which is named after Waldron Road. So that picture's from the 1950s. But Mr. Murfreesboro, yeah. Now I look good, don't I?
I mean, that picture is that's Rutherford County history right there.
That's Seward Air Force Base in the back. That was in the 1950s. I don't know the occasion, but I could probably get it an answer from John Hood, the state senator.
You know what you did not recently? You told me about. You showed me a picture of Douglas MacArthur going through the town square of Murfreesboro, and he had a connection to Murfreesboro, the great general. What's the connection?
Well, he was married to his wife's name was Jean Faircloth, and she lived here in Murfreesboro. And when Truman made MacArthur's during the Korean conflict, MacArthur wanted to go into China and all that, but Truman, they said, no, you need to come home. Well, when he came home, he had promised Jean that he would come to her hometown of Murfreesboro. So he landed at, supposedly it's either at Seward Air Force Base down in Smyrna or it's in Nashville, but he had a Rolls Royce. And I've got pictures of this stuff on the page. It was 1951, I'm pretty sure. And it was Jean and General MacArthur, and they brought their son, Little Doug. And they were on the square. They had the big, it's Murfreesboro at the time probably had 8,000 or 10,000 people. And so they had a parade for him, and he had a Rolls Royce. And I've got a picture of that from being on the square. Supposedly the parade went down Main Street from the square towards MTSU. And when the Rolls Royce was at the corner of Manny and Main at Central Christian Church, my old family church, it's got the gold dome, the old Rolls Royce broke down. And General MacArthur was mad. And a lot of people came from the sides of the streets, and they pushed him down Main Street over to MTSU. So it was a big to-do that General MacArthur's coming to town. Now, what's ironic, his Rolls Royce broke down, and Jean Faircloth, she lived here, but she died in New York City. She lived to be like 101 or 102. She lived her final days at the Waldorf Astoria in New York City.
Nice. Well, that's a good part of the story. Let me ask you this about this, Mr. Murfreesboro. I mean, you've seen the changes in that city just in the last 5 years. What's been the most pleasant thing? Because a lot of times we look at growth like, oh my God, growth, what are we going to do?
Well, most people that complain about the growth, they complain about the traffic. Of course, I go back, 5 generations here. There are people that go back 7 generations. I go back, to the 1850s or so. But mainly people moving here are coming from California. They're coming from New York, Florida, Illinois. You name it, they're moving here. If as far as the growth, I can remember when Murfreesboro only had about 30,000 people in the 1970s. I know, Joe, you and I are about the same age, and I think you may be a year or two older. But anyway, growing up here, used to know it was like a Norman Rockwell town. You could go around the square. I knew everybody.
Right.
And today, it's not that case. And the ones that complain about traffic, for example, are the ones, as you mentioned just now, are the ones that moved here the last 10 years or so. That's what's so funny. We love it here. We just hate the traffic, but they don't remember the fact that I can remember when the interstate wasn't here. I can remember when there was no 840. I can remember when MTSU only had 9,000 students. And today it's, I think it's the largest university undergraduate, maybe.
It is.
That in Knoxville, but
we got the picture up here on your page here of getting your cards pulled for your classes, MTSU. Talk about an old picture and one that brings back a lot of memories for people. What a great picture, Mr. Murfreesboro, that is.
I didn't take that, but let me say that I went to MTSU, and all three of my siblings, went to MTSU and graduated. I was on the Van Wilder program. I was there for 8 years. So from 1984 to 1992, I knew all the deans for the wrong reasons. Please, Mr. Wilson, you have no grade point average. My dad and Dr. Ingram, my mom and dad used to play cards with Sam Ingram and his wife. Great people. And Dr. Ingram would look at my dad and go, "Floyd, do you have any idea when Bill's going to graduate?" I was the winner in the family.
Anyway, you graduated though, so
I did. James talks about perseverance. So perseverance is a key to life, and especially in the world we've been living in today, the last 2 or 3 years. It used to be, and then this isn't anything about Murfreesboro. If you watch the news, it doesn't matter if you're left or right or whatever you are. It was ISIS. Oh, they're chopping people's heads off. And then it became COVID. And, there's 3 things in life that affect everybody. That doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, you're black or white, a man, woman, whatever. Finances, it means, do I have a job? Do I have a bank account? Romances, how's your relationships going with your significant other? How's your relationship with your children? I know you do a great job. You're a good example of being a father. I keep up with you, and I appreciate all your posts with you and your son. I have a 22-year-old son that's going to graduate from middle in December. And the third thing is health. Think about COVID. I've known 8 people in the last 18 months that have died personally. And when they got sick, they didn't say, "Well, I'm a Democrat or I'm a Republican." Man, it's called life. And we don't get out of here live, but while we're here, let's have a good time. And we're not always going to agree, but we can agree to disagree agreeably.
Sure. What's happened this weekend? You're always involved. You go more places than I go.
Dude,
by the way, I missed you Wednesday night at the MTSU Town Hall in Nashville. Had a great time co-hosting that event. A lot of people there, the coach and the AD, good times. But what's happening this weekend in Murfreesboro?
Well, this weekend, honestly, I don't know. I know what's coming up soon is the Ric Flair Dutch Mantel. Well, the Ric Flair's last match is coming. I'm a big wrestling fan. And Dutch Mantel, you need to have him on your show. He's a friend of mine. I sold his daughter a house here in Murfreesboro. She doesn't live here now, but I can tell you that you were bringing up Buc-ee's. We've got a Buc-ee's that's coming to Joe B. Jackson and Elam Road. They're working on that. The Notes Live Amphitheater is coming to Murfreesboro. They're getting the kinks worked out. That's going to seat several thousand people.
Where's that coming in?
You're going to be able to go to live concerts here in Murfreesboro right off the avenue. And I need to give a shout out to an old roommate of mine, Mark McCluskey's the new Murfreesboro fire chief. And but there's stuff, I tell you, the Rutherford County Historical Society, we meet on Saturdays from 9 to 12 at the old Ransom School on Academy Street.
Yeah.
You can message me about that. We have the farmers market every Saturday from I think 8 till 12 or 8 to 1 on the square. If you like vegetables, they have music.
Love vegetables.
Yeah, you can actually bring your dog down, and that's another thing I admire about you. You Who gets to name these dogs? Dill and Pickle. I love it. Do you name them, or who names them?
Once you adopt them today, you can name them whatever you want.
You've saved a lot of dogs. Y'all saved a lot of animals, haven't
No,
you?
all we do, we provide a conduit between A to C. We're the B. We're a conduit. That's all. We take no credit for this.
Well, but you bring attention to it. You're making people aware of it, and that's most important. The news today is so decisive as far as people either want you to be one way or the other. It's good to have cool stuff. The Legacy Sportsplex is going to be coming to Murfreesboro by 2025. It's going to be between Murfreesboro and Smyrna.
Yeah, it's
going to be one of the largest deals around here.
Well, that's good. Well, hey, listen, thank you. We're going to have you back on more and more. We'll get more about Murfreesboro and Rutherford County that's going on because, again, I follow your page. You're everywhere. You know what's going on down there. And we need that voice in Murfreesboro.
Well,
so
let me say one other thing. On my radio show on Sunday nights on WGNS, we have the Mr. Murfreesboro show. My co-host is Michael Lynn White. And right now it's political season, so everybody's your friend when it's, they want to be on. Our guest Sunday night is going to be Joe Carr, who's running for the Rutherford County mayor. He'll be on, and then so if everybody wants to watch that, you can watch us or listen to us at WGNS 1450 AM or 100.5 FM talk radio, or watch us live at Mr. Murfreesboro on Facebook.
Get it going.
Thanks, Joe, for all you do.
Bill, thank you. We'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Mr. Murfreesboro, Bill Wilson.